If you're in your 50s or 60s and your night vision has quietly gotten worse, if headlights feel more blinding than they used to, if reading in dim light takes more effort, if your eyes feel strained and tired by early evening, I need you to stay with me through this entire video, because what I'm about to share with you is not something most people in your age group have ever been told, and it starts with understanding what is actually happening inside your eyes while you sleep. I am Dr. William, and this channel is dedicated to practical, evidence-based senior health. If you have not subscribed yet, do that now so you never miss what we cover. This video is for educational purposes only. Always consult your doctor before making any health decisions. Here is the truth about your eyes after 50 that almost no one explains properly. Your retina, the thin layer of tissue lining the back of your eye, contains over 100 million photoreceptor cells. These are the hardware of your vision. Every single day, light entering your eyes slowly oxidizes those cells, breaking down their internal structure the way sunlight bleaches and weakens fabric left outside. This oxidative damage is normal. What matters is whether your body can repair it fast enough. When you are younger, it can. A support layer called the retinal pigment epithelium sits just beneath your photoreceptors and acts like a dedicated maintenance crew, clearing debris, recycling damaged cells, and delivering fresh nutrients every night during sleep. After 50, that crew slows down. The repair process becomes less efficient, and the macula, the small central zone of your retina that handles your sharpest, most detailed vision, begins to thin faster than it can be replenished. This is the mechanism behind age-related macular degeneration, which affects nearly 200 million people worldwide and is the leading cause of irreversible vision loss in adults over 55. But here is what most people in their 50s and 60s have never been told. The two compounds that protect your macula, lutein and zeaxanthin, are not produced by your body at all. They come entirely from food. Your macula cannot build or maintain its protective pigment layer without a consistent supply of these two nutrients from your diet. And after 50, your ability to absorb and transport them to the retina declines significantly, and this is where it gets interesting. Research on adults in this age group shows that evening consumption of lutein and zeaxanthin-rich foods delivers 30 to 43% more of these compounds to retinal tissue than the same foods eaten in the morning. The reason is that during the overnight fasting period, the retina becomes the primary destination for these nutrients. During the day, your skin, liver, and other sun-exposed organs compete for the same compounds. At night, with no competition, your retina gets priority delivery. What you eat before bed is the supply chain for your retina's nightly repair work. Most people in their 50s and 60s have never once thought about it this way. Let me show you exactly which 6 vegetables to use and the specific preparations that make each one actually work. Number 6, Kabocha squash as a chilled bedtime pudding. Kabocha is a deep orange Japanese pumpkin, and it is one of the most concentrated dietary sources of beta-carotene available. Your body converts beta-carotene into vitamin A, which is the molecule that physically sits inside your rod photoreceptor cells and enables you to see in low light. When vitamin A is depleted, night vision deteriorates first, then peripheral vision. If you are in your 50s and driving at night feels harder than it did 10 years ago, your rod photoreceptors are telling you something important. A 2022 study in the British Journal of Nutrition found that adults who consumed beta-carotene-rich foods in the evening had 23% higher retinal vitamin A concentrations than those who ate the same foods in the morning. Steam kabocha until completely soft. Blend with 1 tablespoon of olive oil or coconut cream. The fat is non-negotiable because beta-carotene is fat-soluble and cannot absorb without it. Pour into a jar and refrigerate for 6 hours. The chilling causes the starch to slow digestion dramatically, releasing beta-carotene gradually all night rather than in one spike. Half a cup before bed. Number 5. Purple cabbage microgreens eaten fresh and raw. Microgreens are not the same as mature vegetables. A 2021 study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that purple cabbage microgreens contain 69 times more vitamin K and 4 times more anthocyanins per gram than fully grown purple cabbage. These anthocyanins, the deep purple pigment compounds, have a rare ability to cross the blood-retinal barrier, one of the most selective membranes in your entire body. Once inside retinal tissue, they neutralize the oxidative damage your macula accumulates from screens and sunlight throughout the day. Eat them raw and freshly cut. Cooking destroys up to 70% of the anthocyanins. Grow them in a shallow tray at home, 8 to 10 days from seed to harvest. The moment you cut them, they release an enzyme that activates sulforaphane, a compound shown in Johns Hopkins research to boost the eye's natural antioxidant defenses by 33%. The fresher the cut, the higher the enzyme activity. 30 grams with a drizzle of olive oil before bed. Number 4. Watercress as a cold-pressed bedtime juice. Watercress holds the highest nutrient density score of any vegetable ever tested, a perfect 100 out of 100 on the aggregate nutrient density index. It is one of the richest available sources of both lutein and zeaxanthin. The problem that most people never realize is that heat destroys these compounds rapidly. Boiling watercress for just 5 minutes reduces its lutein content by nearly 50%. Cold pressing using a slow masticating juicer rather than a blender preserves 89% of the lutein. A 2023 study in food chemistry confirmed that gap, 89% versus 61% from a standard blender. That difference comes entirely from avoiding friction heat. 80 grams of fresh watercress, half a cucumber for volume, 1 teaspoon of flaxseed oil for absorption. Drink it 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Liquid nutrients bypass much of the digestion that slows solid foods, meaning lutein enters your bloodstream within about 20 minutes, arriving as your first deep sleep cycle begins. Number 3. Moringa leaf powder in warm bedtime milk. Moringa, the powdered leaf of Moringa oleifera, contains approximately 4 times more beta-carotene per gram than carrots. But what makes it uniquely valuable for people in their 50s and 60s is what it does for the blood vessels feeding your retina. These tiny vessels, called the microvasculature, become more fragile with age and are especially vulnerable in people managing blood sugar issues. When they bulge and leak, they cause the kind of retinal damage that is very difficult to reverse. A 2021 study in the journal Phytotherapy Research found a 36% reduction in retinal microaneurysms, those early vessel abnormalities, after 12 weeks of Moringa supplementation. Heat your milk to 60 degrees Celsius, warm but not boiling. Stir in 1 level teaspoon of Moringa powder, then add a small pinch of black pepper. That black pepper matters more than it sounds. Piperine, its active compound, increases the bioavailability of Moringa's nutrients by up to 154% by blocking the liver enzymes that would otherwise break these compounds down before they ever reach your eyes. Number 2. Goji berry leaves brewed as a warm evening tea. Most people in their 50s and 60s have heard of goji berries. Almost nobody knows the leaves are more potent for eye health than the berries themselves. Goji leaves contain 42% more total zeaxanthin per gram than the fruit, and in an ester form that absorbs 2.5 times more efficiently in the human gut. Zeaxanthin is the primary structural pigment of your macula. When its levels fall, you lose fine detail vision first. Reading becomes harder. Faces become less sharp at distance. These are not random aging changes. They are signs of a specific nutrient running low. A 16-week randomized controlled trial at Beijing University of Chinese Medicine found that nightly goji leaf tea produced a 28% increase in macular pigment optical density, the gold standard measurement of macular protection. Brew 2 tablespoons of dried leaves in 80-degree water for a full 8 minutes. A 2021 analysis found 8 minutes extracts 73% of the available zeaxanthin, 3 minutes extracts only 29%. No sugar. Sugar competes with zeaxanthin for intestinal transport proteins and reduces absorption by up to 18%. A squeeze of lemon is beneficial and helps stabilize zeaxanthin during digestion. Number 1. Fermented purple sweet potato as a chilled paste. This is the preparation that genuinely changed how I think about nutritional eye care. Purple sweet potato contains a specific class of anthocyanins, peonidin and cyanidin glycosides, that have a documented ability to cross the blood-retinal barrier in meaningful quantities and directly protect photoreceptor cells from oxidative destruction. A 2023 clinical trial in the Journal of Functional Foods followed 134 adults with early-stage retinal degeneration for 20 weeks. The result was a 47% improvement in low-light vision and a 52% reduction in retinal oxidative damage biomarkers. In a field where a 10% improvement is considered clinically meaningful, those numbers are remarkable, but fermenting it changes everything. During lactofermentation, beneficial bacteria physically break the anthocyanin molecules into smaller fragments that intestinal absorption proteins can handle far more efficiently. A 2022 study in food chemistry found that fermented purple sweet potato delivers 3.8 times the bioavailable anthocyanin content of the same potato simply baked. Nearly 4 times more active compound from the exact same vegetable. To prepare it, steam and mash purple sweet potatoes, mix in 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt and 1 tablespoon of plain yogurt liquid, pack tightly into a glass jar, leave loosely sealed at room temperature for 48 to 72 hours until it develops a slight tang, then refrigerate. Eat 3 tablespoons cold each night with a teaspoon of olive oil. Do not reheat it. The cold is what keeps the fermentation-produced compounds stable. I had a 63-year-old patient, a former teacher, walked every day, genuinely careful about what he ate, whose optometrist had flagged early macular thinning 2 years in a row. When I reviewed his routine, his omega-3 supplement and eye vitamins were taken every morning, hitting his bloodstream hours after his retina's overnight repair window had already closed. His carotenoid-rich foods were eaten at lunch with no fat, so very little was actually absorbing. We moved everything to evenings, added fat to each preparation, and introduced the fermented sweet potato paste as his nightly anchor. At his next scan 12 weeks later, the thinning had stabilized. His optometrist asked what he had changed. The answer was not a new medication. It was timing, form, and 6 vegetables. I had another patient, 68 years old, retired nurse, decades of disciplined healthy eating, whose macula had been thinning on every scan for 4 years. Same story. Morning supplements, raw vegetables at lunch, no fat cofactor, no evening nutrition for the retina at all. 6 weeks after making these changes, her scan held steady for the first time in 4 years. Here is everything to remember. Your retina repairs at night, but only using nutrients already in your blood when the repair window opens. Lutein and zeaxanthin are not made by your body. After 50, absorption and transport of these compounds declines. Evening consumption delivers 30 to 43% more protective pigment to the retina than morning. Preparation determines whether your body absorbs anything at all, fat must be present, heat must be avoided, and fermentation can multiply bioavailability by nearly 4 times. Consistent nightly intake produces measurable change within 6 to 12 weeks. Start with one of these tonight. Not all 6 at once, just one. Be consistent for 3 weeks before adding another. Your retina responds to what you give it. It is not declining passively, it is waiting. If this helped you understand your eyes in a way no one has explained before, share it with someone over 50 who has been quietly noticing these changes. They need to hear this. And tell me where you are right now. Drop A in the comments if your vision has been stable and you're watching to stay ahead of it. Drop B if you have noticed gradual changes and you're looking to slow or reverse them. Drop C if you already have a diagnosis and you are looking for everything you can do alongside your treatment. I read every single comment myself. Thanks for watching.